Captain Li Wu stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride, watching the stars through the main window. His ship was small compared to the giant warships he had seen in training videos. Only 200 crew members worked on his vessel, and most of them were young officers who had never seen real combat. The Soul's Pride was a border patrol ship. Its job was simple: watch for trouble and report back to Earth Command. Li Wu had been doing this job for 3 years, and nothing interesting had ever happened until today. "Captain, we have something on the scanner," said Commander Yun-jae from the weapons station. His voice was calm, but Li Wu could hear the worry underneath. "What kind of something?" Li Wu asked, moving to look at the screen. "It's big, sir. Really big. And it's not human." Li Wu felt his heart beat faster. Every human officer knew this day might come. Earth had been preparing for first contact with alien life for over 50 years. But knowing something might happen and actually seeing it happen were very different things. "Show me," he said. The main screen lit up with an image that made everyone on the bridge go quiet. The alien ship was massive. It looked like a dark metal mountain floating in space. Strange lights blinked along its surface, and Li Wu could see smaller ships moving around it like insects around a giant animal. "How big is it?" he asked. "About 10 times our size," Captain Yun-jae replied. "Maybe bigger. And there are at least 20 smaller ships with it." Dr. Parkman, the ship's science officer, came running onto the bridge. She was young and smart, and Li Wu trusted her judgment more than anyone else on the ship. "Captain, I'm reading energy signatures I've never seen before," she said, looking at her tablet. "Their technology is definitely not human, but it's not that much more advanced than ours. Maybe 50 years ahead, not hundreds." Li Wu nodded. This was important information. Earth's command had always wondered if aliens would be gods with super technology, or if they would be more like humans. It seemed like the answer was somewhere in between. "They're trying to talk to us," said Lieutenant Nam Gil from the communications station, "but I can't understand the language. It sounds like music mixed with machine noises." "Record everything," Li Wu ordered. "Dr. Park, start working on the language. We need to understand what they want." For the next hour, the alien ship sent message after message. Dr. Park worked with the computer to find patterns in the sounds. She was good at languages, and slowly she began to understand small pieces of what the aliens were saying. "I think they call themselves the Corvani," she said, "and I think they want us to surrender." "Surrender?" Li Wu asked. "We haven't even said hello yet." "That's what I'm getting from their messages. They keep repeating certain sound patterns, okay? Based on the tone and frequency, I believe they're making demands, not requests." Suddenly, the alien ship moved closer. It was so big that it blocked out the stars behind it. The smaller ships spread out around the Soul's Pride, surrounding it completely. "Captain," Lieutenant Nam Gil said, "I'm getting a new message. One is different. It's in ... It's in English." "Put it on the main speaker," Li Wu said. A voice filled the bridge. It was deep and strange, like someone speaking through water. But the words were clear. "Small human vessel. I am Admiral Vexstar of the Corvani Federation. You will surrender your ship and your people immediately. You will tell us the location of your home world. You will submit to the authority of the Corvane Empire." Li Wu looked around the bridge. His crew was scared, but they were ready to follow his orders. He had trained them well. "Tease, Captain Li Wu of the human vessel Soul's Pride," he said into the microphone. "We are a peaceful exploration ship. We mean no harm to you or your people." The alien voice laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "Peaceful. Your species builds warships and sends them to the edges of your territory. You are preparing for war, just like all the other species we have conquered." "Conquered?" Li Wu asked. "The Corvani Federation has brought order to 17 star systems. We've defeated the Zephyrians, the Crystalline Collective, and the Machine Worlds. Your small ships and primitive weapons will not stop us. Li Wu felt a chill run down his back. These aliens were not explorers or traders, right? They were conquerors, and they thought humans would be easy to defeat. We need time to discuss your offer, Li Wu said carefully. If you have one of your days. After that, we will take what we want by force. The communication ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Park, Li Wu said quietly, I need you to learn everything you can about these Corvani. How they think, how they fight, what they want. Use everything we recorded. Yes, Captain. Commander Yoon. Send a message to Earth Command. Full emergency protocol. Tell them we have made contact with a hostile alien force. Message sent, Captain. But it will take 6 hours to reach Earth. Good. Lieutenant Nam, I want you to monitor all alien communications, okay? Even the ones they think we can't hear. As his crew worked, Li Wu stared at the alien ship on the main screen. The Corvani thought humans were weak. They thought human ships were small and human weapons were primitive. They were probably right about both things. But Li Wu knew something. The aliens didn't. Humans had been preparing for this moment for decades. Not just building ships and weapons, but thinking about how to fight an enemy that was bigger and stronger than they were. The Souls. Pride was not Earth's strongest ship. It was not even close. But it was exactly where it needed to be, doing exactly what it was built to do. By time and gather information. Admiral Vexter had given them 1 day. Li Wu planned to use every minute of it. Dr. Park looked up from her computer. Captain, I'm starting to understand their language better. But there's something strange about the way they communicate. It's like they're all connected somehow. When one ship sends a message, all the others seem to know about it immediately. A hive mind? Li Wu asked. Maybe. Or something like it. This could be important. Li Wu smiled for the first time since the aliens had arrived. Dr. Park was right. This was very important indeed. The Corvani had made their first mistake. They had given humans time to think. Admiral Vexter stood in the command center of his flagship, the Dominator. Around him, dozens of Corvani officers worked at their stations, preparing for what they all believed would be an easy victory. The humans had used their full day to send messages back to their home world, just as Vexter had expected. Report, he commanded. The human ship is still in position, Admiral, said his tactical officer. They have not moved or powered their weapons, in their response to our demands, They request more time to consider our offer. Vextar made a sound that was the Corvani version of laughter. More time. They think they can delay the inevitable. Show them what happens when they refuse the Federation. The Corvani fleet moved toward Colony 7, a small human outpost 3 light towers away. Vexter had chosen this target carefully. It was close enough to make his point, but far enough away that the humans would not be able to help defend it. On the Soul's Pride, Captain Li Wu watched the alien fleet depart. His face was calm, but inside he was thinking fast. The 24 hours had given him exactly what he needed. Time to study the enemy and send detailed reports to Earth Command. They're heading for Colony 7, said Commander Yoon Jae. No, Li Wu replied. Dr. Park, what did you learn about their communication system? Dr. Park Min looked up from her computer. She had not slept in 24 hours, but her eyes were bright with discovery. It's fascinating, Captain. They do share information instantly across their fleet. But it's not a true hive mind. It's more like a very advanced network. Each ship can access the memories and knowledge of the others. What does that mean for us? It means they learn fast, but they also think alike. If we can predict how one of them will react, we can predict how they all will react. Li Wu nodded. This was valuable information. activated the communication system and sent a coded message to Earth's command. The code was simple but effective. The Corvani would not be able to understand it, even if they intercepted it. At Colony 7, Commander Kim Soo received the evacuation order just as the Corvani fleet appeared on his scanners. The colony was small, with only 5,000 people and a handful of defense ships. Against the Corvani fleet, they had no chance. All ships implement Plan Delta, Kim Soo ordered. Plan Delta was something Earth's command had developed years ago. It was not about winning battles, it was about learning from them. Every human ship was equipped with advanced recording equipment. Every battle would be studied and analyzed. The Corvani attacked exactly as Admiral Vextar had planned. Their ships formed a classic battle formation and advanced with overwhelming force. The human ships fought back, but they were badly outnumbered. To the Corvani, it looked like a normal victory. The human ships were destroyed or forced to retreat. The colony surrendered. But they did not see what was really happening. Every human ship that retreated carried complete records of the battle. Every shot fired, every maneuver made, every communication sent by the Corvani was recorded and analyzed. The humans were not just fighting a battle, they were studying their enemy. Commander Kim Soo escaped in one of the last ships to leave the colony. As his ship jumped to hyperspace, he was already sending the battle data to Earth Command. Corvani celebrated their victory, not knowing they had just taught the humans exactly how they fought on Earth. General Han Buyeo received the battle reports in his underground command center. Around him, hundreds of analysts worked at computers, studying every detail of the Corvani attack. "What do we know?" he asked his intelligence chief. "They are good fighters, but predictable," replied Commander Nam Gil, who had been transferred to Earth Command for the crisis. "They use standard formation tactics. Their ships are powerful, but not very fast, and they rely too much on their shared communication system. Explain, they coordinate perfectly because they share information instantly. But that also means they all think the same way. If we can confuse their communication system, we can confuse their entire fleet." General Han Bujel studied the tactical displays. The Corvani had won the battle at Colony 7, but they had also revealed their weaknesses. Now it was time to use that knowledge. "Send orders to all fleet commanders," he said. "We're implementing the Swarm Protocol." The Swarm Protocol was Earth's most secret military plan. It had been developed over decades of careful planning, based on the assumption that humans would someday face a superior enemy. The plan was simple. Instead of fighting like the enemy expected, humans would fight like humans. Dr. Shin A., Earth's leading expert on alien psychology, worked day and night to understand the Corvani mind. She studied their language, their tactics, and their behavior patterns. What she discovered was both encouraging and terrifying. "They're warriors," she reported to General Han Buell, "but they're also proud. They expect their enemies to fight with honor in open battle. They've conquered 17 other species, and they all fought the same way. Ship against ship, formation against formation. And humans don't fight with honor. We fight to win." That's going to confuse them. Back in space, Admiral Vextar was pleased with his victory. The humans had fought bravely, but uselessly. Their ships were destroyed, their colony was captured, and their survivors had fled. It was exactly what he had expected. "Send a message to the human ship," he ordered. "Tell them that this is what happens when they refuse our offer. Tell them they have one more day to surrender, or we will destroy another colony." Captain Li Wu was no longer worried about surrendering. The battle at Colony 7 had given Earth Command everything they needed to know about the Corvani. Now it's time to show the aliens what humans could really do. "Dr. Park," he said, "I want you to send a message to the Corvani. Tell them we're ready to discuss terms. Are we surrendering, Captain? Li Wu smiled. No, we're buying time. And time is the one thing we need most. The message was sent, and Admiral Vextar was satisfied. The humans were finally ready to be reasonable. Hey, he had no idea that across human space, thousands of ships were moving into position, and millions of people were preparing for a war unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Corvani had won their first battle against humanity. It would also be their last easy victory. Part 3. The swarm awakens. Admiral Vextar felt confident as his massive fleet approached the human home system. The Sol system contained Earth, the center of human civilization. Once he conquered it, the war would be over. Humans would surrender, just like all the other species had done. How many human warships are defending their home world? He asked his tactical officer. We detect no major fleet presence, Admiral. Only some defense platforms and patrol ships. It appears they have withdrawn their main forces. Vextar was pleased, but not surprised. The humans had learned they could not win in direct combat. They were probably hiding their ships, hoping to negotiate a surrender that would save some of their people. The humans are cowards, he announced to his bridge crew. They abandoned their own home world rather than fight for it. But Admiral Vextar was wrong. The humans had not abandoned Earth. They had prepared it. Captain Cho Hyun watched the Corvani fleet from her hiding place behind Saturn's rings. Her ship, the Bison Runner, was a deep space reconnaissance vessel designed to be invisible to enemy sensors. She had been watching and waiting for 3 days. They're moving exactly as predicted, she reported to Earth Command. The main fleet is heading straight for Earth. They're not even trying to be careful. Understood, came the reply from General Han Boulay. Begin Phase 1. Cho Hyun smiled. She had been waiting for this moment. All units, this is Recon 1. Execute Swarm Protocol. I repeat, execute Swarm Protocol. As the Corvani fleet entered the inner solar system, they saw what they expected: a few defense platforms around Earth, some patrol ships, and mining operations in the asteroid belt. Everything looked normal for a human star system. Activate the defense platforms, Admiral Vextar ordered. Let's finish this quickly. The Corvane ships opened fire on the human defense platforms. The platforms exploded just as expected. But instead of military explosions, they created something else: massive clouds of communication signals. What is that? Vextar demanded. Unknown, Admiral. The destroyed platforms are broadcasting some kind of network signal. It's spreading throughout the system. Engineer Bang Wool sat in her control center deep inside an asteroid. Round her, thousands of screens showed the status of automated systems throughout the solar system. She had spent 5 years preparing for this moment. Network is active, she announced. All civilian systems are now connected to the military command grid. What the Corvani did not know was that every human machine in the solar system was now part of a single, massive weapon system. Mining ships, cargo vessels, passenger liners, even garbage collectors had been secretly equipped with military-grade computers and weapons. Civilian fleet, this is command. General Han Bull's voice came through the speakers. You are cleared to engage. Suddenly, the space around the Corvani fleet came alive. Hundreds of ships that had looked like harmless civilian vessels began moving toward the alien fleet. But these were not the cargo ships and passenger liners they appeared to be. A luxury cruise ship that had been drifting near Mars suddenly accelerated toward the Corvani formation. Its passenger decks had been converted into missile bays. Its dining rooms now housed targeting computers. Its swimming pools had been turned into weapon storage. What is that thing? A Corvani officer shouted. It appears to be a human passenger vessel, his scanner operator replied. But it's reading as a military target. That's impossible. The cruise ship opened fire with weapons that should not have existed on a civilian vessel. Dozens of missiles streaked toward the Corvani ships, but the cruise ship was not alone. A mining vessel that had been working in the asteroid belt dropped its load of rocks and revealed that each rock contained a guided missile. A garbage collection ship opened its cargo bays and released a swarm of combat drones. Even a small pleasure yacht began firing weapons that were larger than the ship itself. "How is this possible?" Admiral Vextar demanded. "These are civilian vessels." "Not anymore," said Captain Cho Hyun as her reconnaissance ship joined the battle. "This is what you get when you fight humans. We don't just have a military, we have a civilization." Commander Lee Sun, Earth's cyber warfare specialist, watched the battle from her underground command center. Her job was to make sure the Corvani could not coordinate their response to the swarm attack. Jammed their communications, she ordered her team. "I want every Corvani ship to think it's fighting alone." The Corvani have relied on their instant communication network to coordinate their fleets, but the humans had studied this system and learned how to disrupt it. Suddenly, Admiral Vextar could not talk to his ships. Each Corvani vessel was isolated, facing what seemed like an endless swarm of human attackers. "This is madness," Vextar said to himself. "How can civilian ships fight like warships?" The answer was simple. The humans had spent decades preparing for this moment. Every ship, every station, every piece of technology in the solar system had been designed to become a weapon if needed. The cruise ship had been built with hidden weapon bays. The mining ship had been programmed to use its tools as weapons. Even the garbage collector had been equipped with military-grade shields. A small human fighter pilot named Jong Min flew his converted racing ship through the Corvani formation. His ship had been built for speed, not combat, but the humans had given it weapons and armor, and Jong Min had trained for years to use them. "This is Racing Bird," he reported. "I'm seeing confusion in their ranks. They don't know how to fight this many different types of ships." The Corvani were trained to fight military fleets. They knew how to battle cruisers and destroyers and fighters, but they had never faced a cruise ship armed with military weapons, or a mining ship that could launch guided asteroids, or a garbage collector that deployed combat drones. "We need to retreat," one of Vextar's officers suggested. "We can't fight an entire star system." "No," Vextar replied. "We are the Corvani Federation. We do not retreat." But even as he spoke, Admiral Vextar began to understand the truth. The humans had not built a military to fight the Corvani. They had turned their entire civilization into a weapon. Every ship, every station, every person in the solar system was part of their defense. The Corvani had conquered 17 star systems, but they had never faced an enemy like this. They had never fought a species that could turn a garbage truck into a warship, or a passenger liner into a missile platform. As the battle continued, Admiral Vextar realized that the humans had taught him something important. The most dangerous weapon in the galaxy was not a ship or a gun. It was an idea. And the human idea was simple. Anything could be a weapon if you were creative enough. Admiral Vextar's fleet was scattered across 3 star systems, trying to regroup after the disaster at Earth. Half of his ships were damaged, and his officers were confused and afraid. The humans had done something impossible. They had turned their entire civilization into a weapon. But the real war was just beginning. Deep in the Corvani communication network, something strange was happening. Messages were appearing that should not exist. Information was spreading that made no sense. Slowly, the Corvani were beginning to doubt everything they thought they knew about the humans. Hacker Jang Du sat in his underground facility on Earth, surrounded by dozens of computer screens. He was 25 years old and had spent his entire adult life preparing for this moment. His job was simple: get inside the Corvani network and break it from within. "I'm in," he announced to his team. Their communication system is more open than they think. They trust each other completely, so they don't protect themselves from each other. What can you do? Asked his supervisor. Everything, Jiang Du replied with a smile. I can make them see things that aren't there. I can make them hear orders that were never given. I can make them doubt their own commanders. The Corvani communication network was their greatest strength. It allowed them to share information instantly across their entire fleet. But Dr. Parkman had discovered something important. It was also their greatest weakness. They don't just share information, she explained to General Han Bujel. They share emotions, memories, even dreams. When one Corvani feels fear, all the others feel it too. When one doubts, they all doubt. So if we can make one of them afraid, we can make all of them afraid. Captain Kim Wan led a team of human special operations soldiers on a mission that seemed impossible. They had infiltrated a Corvani supply station and were now inside the alien network, physically connected to their communication system. We're uploading the virus now, he reported. It should spread through their network in about 6 hours. The virus was not designed to destroy the Corvani computers. It was designed to do something much worse. It would make them doubt themselves. Back on his flagship, Admiral Vextar was trying to understand what had happened at Earth. His tactical officers were studying the battle records. Nothing made sense. How can a garbage collection ship destroy a battle cruiser? He asked. Unknown, Admiral. The humans seem to have weapons we've never seen before. That's impossible. We studied their technology. They're only 50 years behind us, not 50 years ahead. But even as he spoke, Admiral Vexter began to receive disturbing reports from across his fleet. Ships were reporting equipment failures that made no sense. Commanders were receiving orders they were sure they had never given. And strangest of all, some of his officers were beginning to ask questions they had never asked before. Admiral, said his communication officer, I'm receiving reports that the humans have ships that can become invisible. Impossible. Also, some of our ships are reporting that human weapons can pass through our shields. That's also impossible. Snur. We're also getting reports that the humans can read our thoughts. Admiral Vextar was quiet for a long moment. None of these things should be possible, but the reports were coming from his own officers, through his own communication network. What he didn't know was that every report was false. Hacker Jiang Du and his team had infiltrated the Corvani network so completely that they could insert fake messages anywhere they wanted. They were making the aliens see threats that didn't exist and fear weapons that would never build. Dr. Park Min was leading the psychological warfare campaign from Earth. She had spent months studying Corvani culture and psychology, and she knew exactly how to frighten them. The Corvani are warriors, she explained to her team. But they're also very logical. They believe in facts and evidence, so we're going to give them facts and evidence that will drive them crazy. Her team began broadcasting carefully crafted messages into the Corvani network. The messages contained detailed technical specifications for human weapons that didn't exist. They included battle reports from fights that never happened. They even contained intercepted Corvani communications that seemed to show their own commanders plotting against each other. Admiral, said one of Vextar's officers, we've intercepted human communications, planning to attack our home world. How is that possible? Their ships are slower than ours. They claim to have developed faster than light travel that doesn't require jump points. Show me the evidence. The officer displayed a detailed technical document that appeared to be a human military manual. It described a new type of engine that could travel faster than anything the Corvani had ever seen. The document looked completely real. What Admiral Vextar didn't know was that the document had been created by Dr. Parkman's team. It was completely false, but it was designed to look absolutely convincing. Across the Corvani fleet, similar false Information was spreading. Some ships received fake orders to retreat. Others received warnings about human superweapons. A few even received messages claiming that the human fleet was 10 times larger than previously thought. "Admiral," said his tactical officer, "we're receiving reports that the humans have allied with the Zephyrian Empire." "That's impossible. We destroyed the Zephyrians 2 years ago." Reports said they survived and had been hiding, waiting for a chance to attack us. Admiral Vextar felt something he had never experienced before: doubt. For his entire life, he had been certain of victory. The Corvani Federation had never been defeated. Their technology was superior, their tactics were proven, and their communication network gave them perfect coordination. But now, nothing made sense. The humans fought with weapons that shouldn't exist, used tactics that were impossible, and seemed to know things they couldn't possibly know. "Sir," said his communication officer, "I'm receiving a message from home. High Command wants to know why we haven't conquered the humans yet. Tell them, ... double quotes. Admiral Vextar paused. What could he tell them? That the humans were somehow more dangerous than they appeared. That their civilian ships were actually military vessels. Okay? That their entire civilization was a weapon. Tell them, we need reinforcements," he said finally. But what Admiral Vextar didn't know was that message would never reach Corvani High Command. Hacker Jangdu had intercepted it and replaced it with a different message, one that made it seem like Admiral Vextar was losing his mind. The mind war had begun, and the humans were winning it by making the Corvani fight themselves. Admiral Vextar sat alone in his command chamber, staring at reports that made no sense. His fleet was scattered across 5 star systems. His officers were reporting impossible things, and worst of all, he was beginning to doubt his own memories. Had the humans really turned garbage ships into warships? Did they really have weapons that could pass through Corvani shields? Were there really human spies inside his own communication network? The more he thought about it, the less certain he became. And that terrified him. A message appeared on his communication screen. It was not from his own ships or from Corvani High Command. It was from the humans. "Admiral Vextar, this is Dr. Parkman of the Human Diplomatic Corps. We would like to meet with you to discuss ending this war." Vextar stared at the message for a long time. Part of him wanted to reject it immediately. The Corvani Federation did not negotiate with inferior species. But another part of him, a part that was growing stronger every day, wanted answers. "Where?" he replied. "Neutral space station, Harmony Point. Come alone, or with a small escort. We guarantee your safety." 3 days later, Admiral Vextar arrived at Harmony Point with only his personal shuttle and 2 guard ships. The space station was old and small, built by a species that had died out centuries ago. It was the perfect place for a secret meeting. As he walked through the station's corridors, Admiral Vextar expected to meet with human military commanders. He expected to face Captain Li Wu, or General Han Buyel, or one of the other warriors he had been fighting. Instead, found himself in a small conference room facing a young woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile. "I am Dr. Parkman," she said. "Thank you for coming." "You're not what I expected," Admiral Vextar replied. "Okay, most people say that," Dr. Parkman said. "Please, sit down. We have much to discuss." Admiral Vextar remained standing. He was a warrior, and warriors did not sit with their enemies. "I have come to offer you terms for surrender," he said. Dr. Parkman smiled sadly. "Admiral, I think you misunderstand the situation. We are not here to surrender to you. We are here to explain why you should surrender to us." "Possible. The Corvani Federation has never been defeated." "No," Dr. Parkman agreed. "You've never been defeated in battle. But this was never really a battle, was it?" She gestured to a chair again, and this time, Admiral Vextar sat down. He was tired, more tired than he had ever been in his life. "What do you mean?" he asked. Tell me, Admiral, what is the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy? Quantum destroyer cannon, or perhaps a planet-killer missile? No, Dr. Parkman said gently. The most dangerous weapon in the galaxy is an idea, and humans are very good at weaponizing ideas. Captain Li Wu entered the room, followed by Ambassador Kong Bo. Admiral Vexstar tensed, ready for a fight. But the humans simply sat down at the table. Admiral, Captain Li Wu said, "Do you know what we learned about you in our first encounter? That we are superior warriors?" "No, we learned that you think like warriors. You see the galaxy in terms of battles to be won and enemies to be defeated. That's not wrong, but it's limited." Dr. Parkman activated a holographic display, showed the recent battles between human and Corvani forces. "You've been fighting our warships," she said. "But our warships were never our most dangerous weapon. They were just a distraction." "Then, what was your most dangerous weapon?" "Ability to turn anything into a weapon. Our willingness to fight with tools you would never think to use. Our talent for making you fight yourself." Admiral Vexter stared at the display. Slowly, he began to understand. The garbage ships, the cruise liners, the mining vessels, all of them were weapons. Yes, but not because we built them as weapons. They became weapons because we needed them to be weapons. Humans can take anything and find a way to fight with it. And the false information in our networks. Dr. Parkman nodded. "We didn't just hack your computers, Admiral. We hacked your minds. We studied your psychology, your culture, your fears. Then we used all of that against you. You made us doubt ourselves, guys, because doubt is the most powerful weapon of all. When you doubt yourself, you defeat yourself." Ambassador Kong Bo leaned forward. "Admiral, you've conquered 17 species, but they all fought the same way. Ship against ship, formation against formation, honor against honor. You knew how to beat that kind of enemy. But humans don't fight with honor," Admiral Vexter said quietly. "We fight to win," Captain Li Wu confirmed. "We fight with whatever we have, however we can. That means turning a passenger ship into a missile platform. We do it. If that means making you think your own officers are plotting against you, we do that too." Dr. Parkman touched a control, and the display changed. Now it showed Admiral Vextar's own fleet, scattered and confused across multiple star systems. "Now, half of your ships think they're under attack by invisible human vessels. The other half think you've gone insane and are planning to retreat. Your communication network, which was supposed to be your strength, is spreading chaos instead of coordination." "How long?" Admiral Vexter asked. "How long? What? How long have you been inside our networks? How long have you been studying us?" "Since the moment we met," Dr. Parkman replied. "Every conversation, every battle, every message you sent taught us something new about how you think and how you fight." Admiral Vexter was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. "What do you want?" Ambassador Kong Bo said simply, "We want this war to end, and if I refuse, okay?" Dr. Parkman's expression remained kind, but her words were steel. "Then we will continue to do what we've been doing. We will turn your own technology against you. We will make your ships fight each other. We will convince your people that their leaders have betrayed them. We will do this until your Federation tears itself apart." Or, Captain Li Wu added, "You can choose to end this war now, with honor and dignity intact." Admiral Vexter looked around the room at the three humans. They were not what he had expected. They were not cruel conquerors or mighty warriors. They were simply people who had found a way to turn their entire civilization into a weapon. "Need to contact my government," he said finally. "Of course," Dr. Parkman replied. "But Admiral, remember this. Humans don't just build weapons. They become weapons. And the most dangerous thing about humans is that we can make anyone else a weapon too, even if they don't want to be. As Admiral Vexter left the station, he finally understood the truth. The humans had not defeated the Corvani Federation with superior ships or better technology. They had defeated them with something much more dangerous, the ability to weaponize anything, including the Corvani themselves. The war was over. Humanity had won by showing the galaxy a new kind of warfare, one where the battlefield was not just space, but the mind itself.